Yeah, so there's honestly a lot of issues, like the elevators are almost never working.
We only have one functioning elevator.
Oh my God, don't even get me started on the elevators.
Just people just keep stealing packs all the time.
People stealing packages.
Most of the building didn't have hot water.
I wouldn't have hot water.
Our water had sulfur in it.
It's just really expensive for what it is.
We asked them for help and they kind of gave us nothing.
I had mold in my apartment.
Like mold in the building.
One time mold.
It had a huge mold just infestation, and the manager wouldn't respond to any emails, and she still doesn't respond to my emails.
I guess paying far too much for a room that's far too small.
I didn't have a shower head, so I was showering out of what was basically a straight garden hose.
Realized that I had fleas.
I noticed that my car was stolen.
And a lot of kids have probably never lived in an apartment before. Obviously, it's their first time living in an apartment by themselves, as an independent adult, and they just think it's normal.
I blame a lot of it on just corporate greed. Landlords are able to prey on students who are encountering, this sort of adult thing for the first time for most students.
It's price gouging. It's price gouging. You have these corporations that are setting a super high price on something with a pretty inelastic demand. I mean, having a place to live, that's pretty inelastic demand,
You shouldn't be worried about housing. You shouldn't be worried about having to have a place to live, and yet so many people are. And as a student, I've seen it among my peers.
We did the Rocky Horror event last week with the Pearl Street Co-op, and I thought that was really successful at getting more engagement outside of meetings.
They wanted to form a coalition with us to hear about students' experiences with security deposit alternatives, rent payment platforms, and credit building services.
And then somebody raised their hand and goes, there's a tenants union on West Campus, the UT Tenants Union, and they advocate. And I was like, no, but we're powerful though. I just want to say
So the Tenants Union was created my freshman year, so 3 years. But a lot of the work that a lot of these people do, they're very passionate about it and very consistent. And so that's why it seems that the Tenants Union has been here for longer than it has.
I am so proud that the union has done its band with those housing developments in Austin. Yay! I think that's a huge win.
I think it really goes to show the strength of students when they get together. It feels like not a lot of people respect us, and not a lot of people feel like we know what we're talking about, But we are living these things, and they are happening to us, and so it's extremely important to have a position and make that known.
So all our attention has been really focused on UNO. UNO is the University Neighborhood Overlay, and it is the zoning document for West Campus.
It's literally just for West Campus. That's where the border's drawn for taller buildings, denser housing, and it's a way to make that little piece of land next to campus a lot more accessible for students, to have more students live there, have it to be a student designated neighborhood, and just to kind of drive development in the direction towards students.
One of the UNO amendments that was proposed was to limit pre-leasing to at most 6 months in advance. So if this got added to UNO, there would be no more of that, landlords leasing 1 fucking year in advance.
In the summer, we got news that UNO wasn't going to be voted on because there had been a request from the university through student government to pause voting on UNO. There were some reasons that were cited as the reason why, and some of those included what they called a lack of student input. We felt blindsided because we had, as the tenants union, we had been working with city council, we've been working with sometimes even the university and some people from the university. And so when we spend months coming up with some of these ideas, when we spend months testifying, when we spend months rallying student opinion, and then all of a sudden there's a stop, that really it's concerning, and it feels like we're blindsided in that process as students. We make the effort to reach out to our community, and I think it's one of the things that we can't be accused of not caring about or not engaging with.
I mean, we've tried reaching out, and there hasn't been a lot of response. It does often feel kind of like we're being stonewalled.
The university is negotiating with the city in a way that cuts out groups who are first and foremost interested in student quality of life and affordability. If you are a provider of housing, you want to compete with less people because then you have more control over what you want to set the price at. And I mean, not to say that that's what's driving them, but if they don't provide clear explanations to people who have been in the room trying to make these changes, it's hard to take what they're doing in good faith.
I think this like ties back to like the importance of membership. If you're living in West Campus, if you're living in student housing, like you're already a member.
Then the next step is to begin to organize. That starts peer-to-peer. That starts by telling people who you know would be interested or are impacted by the situation what is going on. And then that turns into mobilization. We have a petition right now that's going around, and I feel like that's a really good framework and sort of bedrock for greater movement. I think as like students at a university specifically, people are very idealistic and they're walking in here convinced that they're going to change the world, and like changing the world isn't for everybody, but I think changing your community a little bit at a time is for everybody.
Whenever you mess with students, there will be a united backlash. Also, there's been a sort of a unity that's been emerging amongst students who care about this. That's another good thing. And so we hope that those two things will lead us to the end that we're hoping to see.